I began my career way back, I would say nearly 39, 40 years ago, as a young student who was studying hotel management, hospitality and tourism in Perth, Western Australia. And I started whilst studying as a kitchen hand in a food court. And ironically, it was the Rangoon Burmese curries. So the challenge was to align myself with the career that I was going to take on for my future. So I remember one of my lecturers, Mr. Berry, said to me, if you want to be successful in this business and grow with this business, you need to start at the bottom. While studying, you need to understand what this business is about. So the only job I could get as a student in those days was working as a kitchen hand in a food court where I used to go and eat my food as a student, and working with the Vietnamese boat people who were refugees in Australia at that time. So I progressed myself with a determination to be somebody in this business. My goal and my target was always in my focus that if I'm going to get into this business, I'm going to end up as somebody, leave a mark in my trade. And I call the hospitality business as a trade because it is still not recognized and understood that the hospitality business is a trade, apart from when you have electrical, mechanical engineers, plumbers. Service industry is also a trade. So with that focus in mind, I set many goals to achieve to where I am today. So my first goal was to be better than the others, be the best in what I do. So I progressed on to becoming a waiter in the hotel industry, won the Best Student Waiter of the Year way back in '83. In 1984, the Professional Waiter of the Year, the youngest person in Australia to achieve that. The youngest restaurant manager with Sheraton, ITT Global, that what it was called in those days. So started at Sheraton Perth in 1983. My career in a true five-star hotel, took on the path of working in the restaurants. I also trained in the kitchen, so my passion was to be a great pastry chef. But then I saw the progress level climb in the production side. Took too long to get to an executive chef, and my goal was to be a GM one day. So I focused on going through the service background. So from restaurant manager, went on to becoming a maitre d' of a fine dining restaurant, then moving on as a catering manager, then banquet manager, eventually then coming back to Perth. So these things I did within Australia, Sheraton Darwin, back to Sheraton Perth, as a assistant food and beverage manager with Choice Hotels at the Langley in Perth. From there on, moved on to an executive assistant role to manage a small resort in Western Australia, which was the most sought-after destination for people in my industry. Having the opportunity to then proceed as the youngest general manager with Choice Hotels at the age of 26, I was transferred internally to a new destination, and I took that role on. And I think I was quite successful in carrying that out and sustaining it, winning the most, quite a few prestigious awards also for that hotel as a first-time GM. I moved back to Australia, then working with a casino hotel in a remote island location called Christmas Island. Then went back to work overseas and as a general manager in opening some flagship properties for Choice. Worked in Indonesia as an area general manager with 14 hotels, responsibility. Again, the career just kept escalating. I did deviate from that for a short while. I went into IT because in those days, information technology and hospitality was growing. So I was quite keen to understand how hospitality would integrate with information technology, and I played a key role as a vice president, looking after the Middle East areas and being able to relate to hoteliers that how important the IT is and support it moving from manual and transiting into information technology. As a young GM and being able to understand all the areas of it, I felt a little bit of like a fish out of water, getting out of hotels. So the urge was to come back in. And so I rejoined, went back as a GM for another hotel, a city property. So I've done resorts, I've done city. Then I decided to, deviate again and went into teaching. So I joined 6 hotel schools in Egypt and successfully as a lecturer. Spent a year and a half teaching because I always want to give back to the students and show them a career path that, if I could make it, they could make it as well. It's not somebody, I have some relatives who own hotels or connections. It's hard work that you persist with. And if you are, again, like I said, goal-oriented, focused, you can make it. If I can do it, you can do it. I think most of my later part of my career from age 26 till at least another 20 years as general manager for different hotels around the world, you never stop dreaming. Every hotel, every destination is a challenge. And the main thing is that a lot of people talk about, that you've moved so many places and you're not being stable in one area. No, that's wrong. That's a myth. According to me, to be a good hotelier, you need to experience different cultures, different places, different people. Everybody does it differently. So how can you be good if you don't travel and you don't learn and you don't work with different people and understand different cultures and different languages? Then how can you offer a better service and make a more fulfilling career of yourself? So fortunately for me, I had the opportunities to travel in many places. But then I discovered Bangladesh in 2010. I came here to Dhaka. I was fortunate to be the general manager of the Western Dhaka for 4 years. And I think that was the real peak period of the boom in Bangladesh hospitality. And the success of the hotel lies not only with me, but the team. But being the leader, showing the path and the direction with the past experience really put the hotel on the map. And when I say put Western Dhaka on the map, it put Bangladesh on the map. Not only for different hotel companies, for a lot of people who are investors who wanted to get into hospitality as well. No matter what role you do in the hotel, not only food and beverage, when you were saying a good waiter or production or a housekeeper, I've seen people from various departments within the hotel industry, and I always say the hotel is one industry which encompasses other industries. So the opportunity for everyone is there. But the GM is not the ultimate. One day I'd like to own my own place and run it like an owner. But being focused, having your goals in sight, don't give up. Be the best that you can be. Be better than the best also is another thing that I use. That, I try and do my job the best, and then I want to do the next person's role that is above me to do his work or her work. And so that I can always say to my boss that, you need to go up so I can come into your chair. And there is a terminology in our business, man in the pocket, build man in the pocket. So I have somebody trained to come into your role, otherwise you don't move. You need someone to come, so succession planning, in other words. But you have to be committed. There's no such thing as doing an 8-hour shift or a 9-hour shift. For me, I haven't slept for 8 hours. Maybe that's unhealthy. But I get so entangled and engrossed in my career and in my business. It's my passion. I make money for others, and obviously don't look at money at the start. It is look at your career, where you want to go, where it's going to take you. Money will come later. So if you're chasing money, this is the wrong business to start with. For yourself, it all comes in time, based on your experience and what you put out. But be positive and be focused.